there. In this video, you'll walk with me as I begin a project and start transcribing. So the first thing I do when I log into TPen is I browse the manuscripts. Let's say I choose one from Cambridge, Massachusetts. So I can create a new project if I want to. We'll call it My Test Project. And it's as simple as that. Now the next page I go to is the project management page. This is where I can view all of the projects that I'm currently working on, and I can also go to a project and begin to transcribe. So let's say I want to start transcribing on Folio 21 Verso. So TPen requests the image for me, and this is the typical screen you'll see when that happens. Oh, and it looks like that because we're working with a late scribe, this manuscript's from the 15th century, it's not regular enough for TPen to catch the columns. TPen catches and is able to parse 80% of columns and lines, but sometimes it just can't figure it out. In that case, we need to do it by hand. So I would push the column controls, and I'm going to destroy this weird column over here. So that's gone now. And now I need to create a column. So I go to the Create a Column button, and I'm going to capture all that text. I want to be sure I catch those interesting. There we go. All right. So now that I'm satisfied that I have captured the column correctly, what I am going to do is go to the Reparse All Columns button, and I submit one for reparsing. And what TPen is going to do is it's going to parse that column and find the lines for me. Oh, and as you can see, it didn't do a bad job. Now, don't worry. They don't need to be exact, but it does look like that it missed a line right here. So what I would do to capture that line is I go to Line Controls, and I put Add Line, and I add a line. Oh, and look at that, it missed one down here as well. I'll add that. And now I think it missed that one too. I could be wrong, but you can always go back and change something. Start transcribing the first line. Now, it took me a minute, but what I realized is that this manuscript, the scribe left a place for a capital, and indeed left a guide letter, that's a T. And so this word is Thana. And I want to make a note of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Notes section, and it opens up the note pane. And I'm going to say something like, the scribe left a guide letter for a rubricator. Then I'll close that note section because I don't want to deal with it right now. And I'm going to continue transcribing. And I tend to talk to myself while I transcribe, so you're going to have to bear with me. Thana afterward won this Excuse me, my cat sneezed. Two. Oh, these two. Kinges. Mel. Kior. And Balthazar. Okay, I'm finished with this line, or at least my first pass. Everybody transcribes differently, and what I tend to do is I make a first pass, I put my first guesses, and I move on. And then once I'm done with the whole page, I go back. Because otherwise I find myself worrying and worrying over every single word. So I will probably leave this misspelled, kinges, it could. So I'm going to leave this things misspelled and kind of not in a great state and move on to the next line before I get obsessed. So I'm going to push enter. That takes me to the next line. Where common and abiden in this place aforesaid in ah. Well, if you're following along, I'm right here, and that's a thorn. And so what I will do is I will go to characters, and I very easily add a thorn. Since it is keyed to number 2, I could also, if I wanted, press Control and the 2 button at the same time and get the same letter. In the I'm having a problem figuring out that word. In the, I'd like to say that that's a CL, but maybe it's a DO. Well, you know what I can do? I'm just going to leave a question mark and Derknessa. And I'm going to add a note. And I'm going to move on. Thon. So you'll notice that I am not. Oh, wait, I recognize that. It's cloud. Let's go to the previous line. Cloud. Aha. All right. Interesting. Okay, then the cloud began to ascend. Well, no, that looks like a T. And wax. Clear. But the star appeared not. So, one, disa, two, kinges, saying, one they were near the city of Jerusalem, if none of him yet Noah oder they took. Here's a thorn again, so I control 2. The way toward the city with alle her folke. Again with the double F's, I need to make an editorial decision once I finish this if I'm going to put double Fs everywhere or if I am going to leave it as just one. Because obviously Folke in this context probably would not be capitalized, and I've noticed that throughout that he does that. So that's why I'm not adding it there. And I'm expanding the Turonian sevens. When they come to the way beside the mount of Calvary, you can barely see that. There as Lisa Thre. This will be the last line that you have to sit with me and transcribe. Actually, I'll stop right here. And if you haven't figured it out now, I'm transcribing a prose version of the Three Kings of Cologne. So a couple things you might want to note while I'm transcribing, because this is something I always worry about, is whether my transcription is being saved. And you can look over here on the right and you can see all the changes that are made. So it last saved at 425, almost 426. So if I want to make sure that this is going to save, I'll just start a new line, and you can see that it's saved again at 427. And with that, I bid you adieu.